Hi there, it's John again with Calico Canvas. This lesson I'm going to show you how to do some darts. There are three different ways to make, there are many different ways, but I'm going to show you three different ways of making a dart, or simply just, finishing up corners in canvas. Whether you're making a boat cover and, on the corners you've got to dart the fabric around so that it goes on there, or you got a long span of canvas that you want to take some extra fabric out of the middle of it. These are just some sample ways to show you how to practice doing that and get proficient at making it before you get on an actual project. So let's get a close-up and I'll show you how we're doing it. Okay, here's just a flat piece of basic canvas and a pencil, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 4 starts, and then on these corners, what I want to do is I want to dart this or take some fabric out of all 4 of these corners to make this thing into a box. So you don't need to use a ruler or anything. This is just for sewing practice. You come down and you put a hash mark where you want to fold the fabric over on all 4 of these corners. Okay? Now whenever I scribe an actual project, when I'm folding a dart over, I'll put a little hash mark on each side of one side of the dart, meaning that I want to take this piece and I want to fold it on top of this other piece. That's what the little hash mark means. And this is being the top of the dart where I'm going to start sewing, and this is the bottom. Let's get a close-up of the machine and you'll get a better perspective of what I'm doing. Okay, we can see that this is the top of the dart, and this mark indicates that I want to fold this side over to this line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab down here and I'm going to pinch this part, and I'm going to come up here and I'm going to pinch the top of the dart and fold it over. Now I'm going to crease this. I'm going to crease this down so that the top of the fold is at the top of the dart right there, and that I have the line. So you rub that down so you have a nice crease in here. Now here's a good trick on sewing these darts. What I want to do is I want to start my sewing, if this being the top of the dart right there, I want to come down about 3/4 of an inch or so, and I want to start sewing right there. And I'll show you why. I'm going to sew it, and then I'm going to back tack up to the top of the dart and then come back down. So a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, start your machine holding your threads down, and then back up to the tip of the dart, and then come back down. And now once I've got it started, I'll come back and I'll line these up, and I'll sew right through it. And then back tack at the bottom. Do that on all 4 corners. This dart being folded over from right to left, this one over here is going from left to right. So this is good practice. So the reason why you want to do it on a square is to get this extra fabric, which you always have. There's always going to be a clump of fabric, so you can learn how to get this thing laid out flat. But once again, you pinch the dart, pinch the bottom of the dart, pinch the top of the dart, fold it over, and then push the seam or the fold up to the top of the dart right there. Once again, I'm going to come down just a little bit below it, start sewing, back up to the tip, and then continue, line the bottom up and continue sewing. Back tack. So I don't need to show you the other ones because we just went both ways. But that's just a real nice way to learn how to make nice looking darts so that the sewing doesn't go up through, or that you don't have this fold. I'll show you an example here. If I was to grab the bottom and grab above this dart and I fold it over, even though I might see my white line inside here, if the tip of this where I sew isn't on the tip of the dart won't fit the project properly. You have to be able to grab right where the tip is, fold the fabric over, and then lay the fabric fold down no higher than the tip of the dart right there. So So practice that and you'll be very happy with yourselves to get the looks of sewing darts in. So that's one way. Let me, we'll go back over to the table and I'll show you a couple different ways. Okay, this time we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to show the top of the dart and the bottom of the dart. You'll take some applications, you can't fold the entire, you don't want all of the fabric inside the dart. So what you do is you'll scribe this on your pattern, or from your pattern or on the boat, but you draw in the exact lines of the dart that you want. Now you can come back and either take a hot knife or scissors and cut this dart out, leaving yourself seam allowance in there. So that you're eliminating all the fabric from the inside of the dart. Now when you take this to the machine, I'll show you a difference. Okay, now that you have this cut out, this is actually a stronger way to make a dart because you're not going to just put one seam line through it by folding this over. You actually fold the project over, line the two edges up, and now with the seam allowance, I know that I'm getting up here to where the tip of the dart starts. So I just start sewing right there with a back tack, and I sew through it. Then I can open this thing up, and I can fold it over, and I can do just like a regular top stitch seam, making sure that you pull this tip out so that you're starting at the top. And same thing as doing the other dart. I'll start just a little bit lower and then I'll back into it. And then I start the rest of the way. Or I sew the rest of the way. That actually looks and acts the exact same way as the other dart did, or the other method did, but what you're doing is you're eliminating all the excess material inside, so you can get, sometimes it's a better fit in through there. So, all right, that's the second way. Let's go through one more. Okay, this time maybe I don't want just a regular corner dart. I've got a large piece of fabric, and I've noticed that when I did my patterning, that I had some loose fabric in the center of it. Then I want to just take some of this out, but not on any of the edges, just right through the middle of the canvas. So what you do is on the boat itself, you would actually grab this, and what I would do is I'd pinch off and mark on both sides where I want to take material out, all the way up, and then have the start of your dart and the stop of your dart in one line. The rest of it's two lines. Now you could actually go through here and draw these lines out, but I can tell you by pinching this off, you won't get it exactly straight. So the best advice I have is when you're pulling fabric out of a center, is just to pinch it and put a couple little hash marks on there, because you're not going to sew exactly exactly on the marks. You'll get it to just even itself out so it lays flat. So we'll go to the machine and I'll show you how to sew this. All right, so now there's literally no difference in this than sewing any of the other darts. I'm gonna take the bottom of this and the top, and I'm gonna fold it over, and I'm going to flatten it out to where I want it to go. Start sewing, back up through the tip, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this piece over to line it up, and then grab the other dart or the other hash marks, get it lined up, get it flat, line these up, and then once I get down here to the bottom where I want it to stop, I'll just do the exact opposite as I did at the top. I'm just going to fold it over and crease it so that I have a stop point. So holding it down with my finger, I get to the end and then back tack right through where I want it to stop. And that, I know this looks bad laying right here, but if this was on a big curved boat piece, you can see that you can take some fabric out of the center of it by stopping and starting the dart without actually bringing this all the way through to the edges and have two separate pieces to try to sew together. Okay, that's Dart Making 101. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe, and good luck with your sewing.